That's a bit easier to see, the weather. In the tropics, it's pretty limited to heat, wind and rain. But will our rough scientists be able to make instruments sensitive enough to pick up changes in the weather and perhaps even reveal weather patterns? OK, weatherman, what have we got here?
This is the simplest barometer that you can make. So we've got a plastic tube full of water, and you can see the water here.
Yeah.
Now the tube is open at each end, and believe it or not, you've got all the air going all the way to the edge of our atmosphere. It's 50 kilometres of air pressing down on everything around us, and it's pressing down on the top of this water here.
Yeah.
But it's equally pressing down on top of this water, so they're always going to be the same height because there's equal forces. But if I take one end of the tube now, and I put it in this clamp, so that this is kept at the pressure of the atmospheric pressure here at this level, and we run down to the sea, which is lower, there's going to be a greater pressure on this side, and so they won't be level anymore, they'll move. And that way we can prove that the atmospheric pressure is due to this air above us.
OK, well, shall we go down and give it a go?
Yeah. Because we come down, there's more pressure here, so this one's being forced down, this one has come up.
You can really see the difference.
So if I mark this...
Yeah.
Now if I open it, this is going to come back to the pressure here now. And we should be able to see the difference.
Will they equalise again?
Yeah. There, look at that.
Wow, that was a huge jump.
So you can see the change.
So you can really see that the weight of just that 10 metres extra of air has pushed that right down.
And so that's how this is quite a sensitive indicator of air pressures. Now when big areas of weather come in with the clouds and rain or whatever, enormous volumes of air that can be at different pressures, this will show us in advance the pressure dropping or the pressure rising, and that should indicate a change in weather, hopefully.
No, Ellen hasn't bunked off. She's collecting red seaweed to make agar, a jelly-like substance that's going to be the home for our test bacteria. A sort of bacteria hotel, in fact.
Inside all the seaweed is basically a starch,
Right.
and we just boil it up to release the starch, and then we'll filter out all the seaweed part that are left.
Yeah.
And we pour it into little plates. So then, and when they cool, they become jelly-like, hard jelly.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
And is that basically what agar is? It's just a jelly?
Yeah, it's hard jelly that is transparent, so you can see all this, you can see through it, so you can see any of the bacteria that are growing.
We're going to use just simple glass tops or bottle tops to put agar in, and that's going to be used as sort of a solid media for the bacteria to grow on. I'm going to try and sterilise it by using this sterilising device. It's basically what's called an autoclave, very similar to a pressure cooker. I've put a stand in there, as you would if you were steaming something, to keep the bottle tops or whatever out of the water. And normally water boils at 100 degrees at normal atmospheric pressure, but we know that if you add 18 kilograms approximately to it, it would boil at 107, or 48 kilograms, it would boil at 120. So I reckon all I have to do now is balance this concrete block that I found on top of the tin. And in actual fact, because of the aluminium plate, that's sealed very well. So that should raise boiling temperature to around about the 110, 115 degree mark and sterilise those lids. But I think it'd be a very, very good idea to get away from here as fast as possible.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to make a magnifying glass just out of drops of water, Kate. And I'm quite pleased. I think it's kind of incredible.
I think you're mad.
I've just got these little circles that I've cut in the metal, and I put in drops of water, and they actually act as small magnifying glasses because they're nicely, surface tension holds them in nice little curves. And so you can actually see things underneath.
I don't think I believe you.
You need to hold it very, very still.
Yeah.
And what you've got to do, if you try looking through this one here, hold it as close to your eye as you can without getting your eyelashes in.
Okay.
And then hold that, which these are separated just by 1 millimetre. And bring it up to your eye. You need them both really, really quite close.
Oh, look at that. Oh, it does work. It's not terribly practical, though, is it, as a microscope? Are we going to be walking around with little drops of water going, oh, look?
Well, no, and so what I'm going to do is use my spirit burner
Right.
to try to melt glass.
Okay.
And make it into nice little spherical blobs. And then I've got lenses that I can actually carry around.
So you'll effectively have glass versions of water droplets?
That's right. So perfectly round little spheres of glass. And the tinier the sphere, the better it will magnify. But it does make it harder to use.
Not content with making a little hotel for the bacteria, now Ellen's stewing a meat broth to nourish them. She seems so nurturing, but of course she only needs lots to grow strong, so she has plenty to zap with her antibacterial potions later on. And Kathy's attempting to take her sphere theory and turn it into something more usable. Tiny glass spheres through which the light will refract even more.
Have a relatively sterile bandage. We're trying to do this as sterilely as possible. And a nice, relatively sterile stick. Tear it off. And what we're going to do is we're going to collect some bacteria. And we're going to collect bacteria from Mike's mouth. So, get ready to open up, Mike. Now, a mouth is a great place to collect bacteria because it collects in your mouth. You can put your tongue in, it'll be a lot easier. And between your gum and your cheek line is where a lot of bacteria grows. That's why it's really important to brush your teeth. How's that feel, Mike? I'm being very gentle, right? All right, I think we've got enough. Then we are going to now inoculate our broth. This is the beef broth, some of it. Okay. That's good. And what's going to happen is overnight, the bacteria, the few bacteria, we actually probably put thousands, if not millions of bacteria in here, they're going to grow and grow and grow. And so we should have tons and tons of bacteria.
It's the end of day one. Kathy's melted a glass sphere. Mike and Ellen are raising bacteria to use later in their antibacterial experiments. And the weather boys have made a lot of lovely instruments, but not one forecast. It's day two, and things have started badly for me. What did I do?
I just need a couple of strands of hair.
You can have anything you like with that knife. Hold on, should I pull this out? What do you think? Just
two fairly long ones.
Okay. How long? I'm getting nervous.
Those will do.
Those?
Yeah, those.
Like that?
No, I want to cut it.
No, you can't.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's grand, thanks.
I'm not even going to ask what that's for. Just go away with that knife. Jonathan is collecting the ever-useful calabash fruits to make a wind speedometer. Kathy is making a platform for her microscope, which actually looks rather more like an instrument of torture. And Ellen's guided Mike to the cactus patch to find a botanical way to turn my greasy hair into a weather instrument.
There's a liquid inside this cactus which will degrease the hair that I'm going to use to make the hygrometer to measure humidity. The hair needs to be degreased for it to absorb the moisture in the air, making it expand with high humidity and contract when it's low humidity. All I have to do now is to stretch this hair taut, wrap it round that pin. And as the hair expands and contracts, as the humidity changes, it will pivot about this needle. This lever will move up and down, and I'll be able to measure the humidity off on this scale.
I've managed to be able to magnify so much, you can actually see a cell.
Really? That's extraordinary.
And, well, have a look. What I've got here is just, it's from an onion. It's just that really thin bit. It's only a cell thick, that little layer, just there. And if you take a look there, you've got to put your eye really, really close to that hole, as close as possible.
Well, I can see something that looks like a kind of a brick pattern.
Well, that's exactly it. That's how onion cells look.
Really? God, you are a genius. That is brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
So are you ready to identify the enemy now?
I think so. If I can see cells, I think I can see mosquitoes.
Okay, let's go find some.
Okay, I just climbed up the hill a bit to get a bit more wind. And you can see that the rotors are going around really nicely here, and there's a universal joint which drives this little dial, so I can count the number of times this is spinning. And I've got a little sand hourglass here which will give me a unit time, a standard time, and I can just count the number of times it goes round. It may be it goes round 20 times for this time, and tomorrow when I come up here maybe it does 40, so I'll know that the wind speed is twice as fast. So I'm able to get a relative idea of the wind speed from one day to another.
There you go, that holds it in well enough.
The lab is getting a final scrub, bleach and rinse to make it as clean as possible.
Okay, Mike, curtains on.
Right, let's give it one last rinse then. Ready?
Yep. All right.
Gorgeously clean, isn't it?
Yeah, let's get into the sun so it can dry.
That should dry it out nicely, yeah?
Yeah.
The sun's also a natural sort of bacteria killer, if you like. That's why when we're growing them, we're going to have to put it out of sunlight, but for now, that'll help sterilise it.
A lot of plants, especially in the tropics, have antibacterial agents in them. And that's because here we don't have any winter. And so there's never a time where the plants don't have to worry about that warm, wet environment where bacteria and fungi just grow like crazy. So the plants have to do something to protect themselves. So tons of plants around here have antibacterial agents.
Ellen's testing juice from a yucca plant, good old-fashioned garlic, and black sage, a local plant renowned for its antibacterial essential oils.
Okay, what's going on here?
What it is, the agar is really just a base to grow bacteria on, but they still need food. Things like phosphorus to make up DNA, or amino acids to make proteins, and that's what it gets from this broth.
Right, so basically what we're doing is we're impregnating the broth, which is the food for our bacteria, into the agar.
That's right, yeah.
And then this agar will set in the little dishes.
So, safely inside the microbiology lab, the seaweed agar, boosted by pure broth with no bugs in it, should set into a lovely, nourishing jelly, all ready for the bacteria to check in. The weather station is coming together. And what's more, there's been a change in the weather. Yes, it's raining! But Jonathan and Mike failed to forecast it.
We've just had a brief downpour of rain, nothing special. The humidity indicator shows that
It was really nothing special at all.
it was reading 0, it's now reading a little more than 0.
Oh, that's true,
Which would
actually.
fit in with the increased water vapour in the air. And we've had no increase in barometric pressure.
Maybe there was a tiny increase.
Tiny increase. Is that in terms of predicting what the weather's going to be? I mean, the weather forecasters use loads and loads of data. They make long-term forecasts. They know. I'm just trying to dig my way out of a very tricky spot.
No, I think I agree with you. Well, we've got very settled weather, really. It's hardly any wind. The pressure doesn't seem to be changing much. The temperature's pretty constant. So
We just want something to change, don't we?
I think we'll have to see what it's reading tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
It's time for the bacteria to finally check in.
Gloves.
Pipettes.
There are millions of bacteria now teeming in the broth, which Mike spreads onto the agar plates.
Garlic.
He then adds the plants.
Sage.
They're hoping that the plants will stop the bacteria in their tracks.
Yucca.
He's doing 4 plates each.
Mop.
This allows for freak results. He's also making control plates with just bacteria on them to compare with the plates that have plant extracts. So all's well at the Bug Hotel, but how's the weather going to be for them?
We had a short rainfall over the lime factory earlier this afternoon, which is flowing northwards with the rain falling. We have light cloud coming in from the north later this evening, and sun, as you can see, and some low cloud down here.
Come on! You have to tell us tomorrow's prediction.
Well, we have one prediction that on day 3 there'll be a slight depression.
Over the lime factory.
Over the lime factory.
As we fail to succeed with our challenges.
Yes.
That's the only prediction that we can make. And that really is good night from the Carriacou Meteorological Office.
We're all feeling a bit tired and there's still lots to do, not least with assessing the weather. Jonathan's making yet more measurements.
It's day 3 and the pressure's dropping, so it's almost a centimetre on this scale.
And Mike B's noted a change in humidity.
I think one of the problems with it is that the hair still got natural greases on there, so it isn't functioning properly as a hygrometer. Nevertheless, it has shown an increase from this morning, that mark there, and is now pointing here, which shows an increase in humidity, so a small success.
The air pressure is going down, which to me indicates that there may be a change in weather. Who knows, in an hour or half a day or so. It gives you some advance warning, the barometer, but it's difficult to say for sure.
The weather still hasn't changed, so Jonathan's bravely logging that things remain the same. But Kathy's microscope is proving rather more successful.
This is a mosquito. Can you see?
Yeah!
I'm so excited. I can't believe that you can see anything that small.
Well done!
I don't believe this. Just with a tiny little sphere of glass. That is incredible.
What do you think the magnification is you're getting on this? I can't believe we can see so much.
Well, I had a little look at just the hair.
Yeah.
And I know that they're about a micron. And
what's a micron?
Well, that's about 1,000th of a millimetre.
Right.
Okay. And so I think, just judging by what I can see there, I think it's about 100 or even 200 times magnification.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You can see them?
Yeah.
With my microscope. Isn't that fantastic? I've made a microscope.
It's really, really nice.
I never realised mosquitoes were quite so hairy. Anyway, what about the antibacterial cream to stop our bites from getting infected?
Well, I have half the challenge finished. Here's the cream.
Fantastic. Can you smell? Oh, it smells lovely.
Coconut oil and water.
Brilliant, but this presumably isn't antibacterial.
No, we have to add the antibacterial substance based on what we find out from doing the plates.
So whichever one is works out to be the most effective. So it could be the garlic or the yucca or any of those.
Yeah.
Put it in.
And they're ready to go.
Mix it up. That seems so simple.
So what will be the magic ingredient we add to this? Time to visit our mini-lab for the results.
Right, end of day 3. Been pretty successful. Has everyone had a look down Kathy's microscope?
It was brilliant.
Absolutely amazing.
Astonishing.
Big hand for Kathy.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Just brilliant. And the weather station. I know the weather forecast was maybe a little far-fetched, but we have got a fully operational weather station, have we?
Very
now?
good indeed.
And now, the big moment. The battle of the bacteria. Come in, Mike. What's been happening?
Right, let's see.
Look at you!
Seriously, hold your breath. Because if this works, it's going to smell disgusting. Right, this is a control plate, and although it's difficult to see, all that white scummy stuff is bacteria, and it stinks.
Excellent.
So that worked. Next one, sage. Well, you can see the white scummy stuff even better, but can you see that dot there?
Yeah.
That was sage oil. So that inhibited bacteria a bit. It has stopped it. But the star of the show, and I think you might recognise it, and this smells even worse.
Wow! That's incredible!
Garlic. Then you can see quite clearly, you can see the white, horrible, scummy stuff. But the garlic stopped it growing.
So that kind of halo around the edge is basically the garlic stopping the bacteria.
Yeah, it's inhibited
from
bacterial growth. So yeah,
fantastic.
the result.
Wow.
Well done, you too.
Good grief, that's brilliant.
So, how do we now apply this?
Oh, no problem. I've already made up our cream. And I'll just apply it. Ooh, I think you have a little cut right there. This is an antibacterial.
There are lots of cuts.
What's there too?
Wow.
You
about
are
that?
going to smell.
And what you all don't realize, this is coconut and garlic.
Nice mixture.
It's just salad dressing.
Well, join me and 5, hopefully, bacteria-free scientists next time for more Rough Science. You all smell disgusting.
Do you want some mine?
Garlic bread.
me first.